The S23 Ultra has been out presently for 4 months, and so as distant as the S23 Ultra goes, it is still an costly phone in spite of the fact that it does take a toll somewhat less than the identical iPhone 14 Professional Max. And it comes in a wide run of colours, counting a few of these online select colours which see completely mint. Presently, Samsung still have a few of the best exchanging bargains in presence and are as of now tossing in freebies like a £200 cashback 6 months of Disney. Also rebates on adornments and right presently indeed a free waterproof speaker, things that are fair unheard of when it plan comes to Apple. It may be a beautiful, expansive and overwhelming phone in spite of the fact that, depending on how you see it that either shouts of the phone being tall quality, or it is so freaking irritating because it keeps, pulling down your shorts once you toss the chunk of phone into your pockets in case you wear anything other than joggers. You're progressing to need to require the phone out of your take sometime recently. You sit down, otherwise you fair generally hit yourself in the groin, which is sometime recently you include a case which I think is certainly shrewd with the phone of this estimate. And this weight, I think a dropper, well, any tallness will wrist scratching wonderful outside or screen of this phone. But one thing that is quite irritating with the plan of the S23 Ultra is the location of the NFC chip presently within the iPhone. It's at the very best at the back, so you'll be able fair kind of book your iPhone at whatever point you wish to. But on the S23 Ultra, it's within the center of the back, which suggests kind of moving your hold, as in spite of the fact that you're displaying your wallet to the card machine. Fair plan of this phone is one of the finest. This year it's basic downplayed. The camera bumps aren't huge and do not collect a ton of dust like you do on the Pixels or the Show iPhone. And the Show is probably one of the finest shows I've seen on a phone, so distant this year. It is buttery smooth, 120 Hz, and it is shinning sufficient to see indeed on the costs of days, which is something I seldom get to put to the test here within the UK, since we do not truly have a sun, but this week has been in supreme scorcher, which is likely more like one of the coldest days in every other nation within the world. The Show is fair lovely. It's shinning. It's responsive. The unique finger impression sensor is lightning fast and customization. It doesn't fair halt at the bolt screen either, since One UI is truly smooth to utilize. I've not had a single moderate downstop or any issue which I would customarily see on most Android gadgets sometime recently. In general, the phone works fair truly well. It's moreover truly simple to multitask on here, something that fair isn't conceivable on iPhone. But I discover myself utilizing more and more on the S23 Ultra, being able to utilize 2 apps side by side, either to browse social while observing a video or fair checking emails while doing something else presently. The customization is something that's truly really fun to start with at first, investing that time setting it all up. I fair do not have time to sit here for hours, fiddling with backdrops and icon packs and consoles. It is awesome that you can do that if you need to. And I did set up my home screen, a customized lock screen, custom keyboards, and a few other bits, when I, to begin with, choose mine up. But I haven't touched it since, which may be an enormous reason I hear, actually with the total Apple versus Android discourse. But yes, you have the total Apple environment thing, but you do not have customization. And for a few individuals, customization truly isn't a huge thing, so it is incredible there. Are you no alternatives for those who do want to touch and tweak every small performance? Let's conversation approximately well what everybody else is talking, almost execution. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip in here is so great, and it is the sole reason why this phone is really great. Since what's the point in having all of this unimaginable equipment and computer program in case they at that point toss in that horrendous Exynos chip, which makes the entire phone run like in Supreme Puppy? I've really heard rumours that Samsung are going to be putting the Exynos chip back into next year's phone, and I personally think that's a truly really bad move for them. But even if they did somehow manage to urge the Exynos chip to perform as well, it's gonna be a tough sell to those of us, exterior of the US, who've, as it were fair, had our to begin with taste of what like a lead Samsung gadget might do when combined with a lead Snapdragon chip, but particularly when the proficiency and battery life of that chip in this phone is madly great as well. So I do tend to carry two phones with me these days right presently. It is the S23 Ultra and the iPhone 14 Master Max, since do still appreciate, like the colossal horde of things you can do inside the environment, like check out the video up here and down underneath, in case you need to know what I'm talking approximately here. But battery performance truly good. But I would still provide the edge to the S23 Ultra in regular day-to-day utilize. Presently, the issue you see with most online battery tests is that most of these aren't genuine world battery tests. They're probably testing a brand modern phone joined to Wi-Fi without even a SIM card associated to it. And unquestionably no external devices, it does still need to charge every single night to be able to get through the another day, which gratefully with the S23 Ultra is a much better experience than the iPhone, since it can charge at 45 watts, when Apple dispatches probably the iPhone 15. So I would or maybe purchase the USB-C embellishments and know that at slightest, those have a few lifespan in them, thank you. Apple, a gigantic Android observes, is one thing in spite of the fact that everybody seems to concur with, which is that the Android watch involvement isn't however up to scratch with the lord of keen watches the Apple Observe presently. I've owned and utilized the Galaxy Watch 5 Professional for a very long time presently, and it is awesome, but it is no Apple Observe presently. For most people, it's going to be your best wagered. Particularly if you've never utilized an Apple Observe sometime recently, then this watch will be phenomenal for you. But for those of you who have utilized an Apple Observe, then apparently the equivalent is the Garmin Fenix 7X cameras observes aside the thing that keeps me coming to for the S23 Ultra indeed, in case they're both in my pockets, are the cameras. And I know this is often an awfully subjective and conclusions contrast between everyone. But these cameras are the S23 Ultra's supreme crown, like moonlight shots, see incredible indeed zooming in, utilizing the 10x focal point, and in low light looks lovely, reasonable. Dynamic range is extraordinary with the iPhone 14 Master. Max recordings are moreover truly extraordinary. I trust it to be. I pre-order mine indeed, in spite of the fact that it's moronically costly since I love the camera framework on the Pixels even more. And I adore the Google partner smart features as well. But for now, the Pixel 7 Pro is likely the another best phone, but it can't coordinate the performance and the battery life of the S23 Ultra. I feel that surge of excitement absolutely 100. Yes, I did the hype on the S23 Ultra is genuine. It's an awesome phone, and on the off chance that you get the opportunity to pick one up, especially at a rebate at that point, I think this can be progressing to be one of the best phones for very a few years to come. Much obliged for watching. If it's not too much trouble, like share and subscribe Tech Trove channel for more modern energizing recordings.